Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how to do the Tunisian cluster stitch. Now you can start by using any yarn of your choosing, and I'll also be using a 4.5mm Tunisian crochet hook for this tutorial. Now the Tunisian cluster stitch is worked over any number of stitches. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll be starting with 10 chains. And we'll start by just completing a slip knot, and then I'm going to chain 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, as is custom with Tunisian crochet, I'm going to pull up loops going across the row. So insert your hook into the second chain from our hook. So this one, I'm going to pull up a loop, and we're going to do that in each chain going across the row. Now at the end of the row, you should have the same number of loops on your hook as the chains that we started with. So we would have started off with 10 chains, which means that we should have 10 loops here. And I'm just going to go ahead and count to make sure. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now I'm going to do a traditional forward pass as well. So yarn over and chain 1, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, so that's 1, 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and we're going to do that until we only have one loop remaining on our hook. Now it's in the next row that we start our cluster stitches. You'll notice that you have a loop on your hook, but you also have vertical bars going across the row. We'll also be working behind these bars. Now with our first loop on the hook, it's coming from this first vertical bar here. This counts as our first stitch, so we won't be working in the first one. We'll start by working in our second vertical bar. So we start by yarning over our hook. I'm going to insert my hook behind the vertical bar here from right to left and pull up a loop. So that's the same as a simple stitch. But for the cluster stitch, I'm actually going to do this again. So yarn over your hook, and in that same stitch where we did our yarn over and simple stitch, we're going to do another. So insert it behind that same stitch, your hook, and pull up a loop. Now you'll notice that you have 5 loops on your hook now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to pull the yarn through these 4 loops. So our yarn overs and simple stitches that we would have done from this vertical bar would have formed these 4 loops. We're going to yarn over and pull the yarn through all 4. Now that's our first cluster, and we're pretty much going to do that in each stitch going across the row. So yarn over, insert it behind the stitch and pull up a loop, yarn over and insert your hook behind the stitch, pull up a loop, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through 4. Yarn over, behind the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over behind that same stitch, we're going to pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through 4. And for our last stitch, we're going to yarn over, but we're going to insert our hook not only to the top of the stitch, but in its corresponding back bar as well. So I did my yarn over, insert it through both like this, pull up a loop, then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 to start our return pass, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and we're going to do that all the way through to the end of the row. Now the Tunisian cluster stitch, it's a 2-row repeat. So I've done the first row here, and I'm going to go ahead and do the second. Now the second row will be simple stitches going across the row. So I'll show you how to do a Tunisian simple stitch. Remember that the loop on our hook, it's coming from the first vertical bar, which counts as our first stitch. So in the second stitch, we're going to insert our hook behind the stitch and pull up a loop. That's a simple stitch, and we're going to do that in each stitch going across the row. And in the last stitch of the row, we're going to do that border stitch again. So not to the top of the stitch here, but through the top as well as its corresponding back bar. Gonna insert our hook through both like that and pull up a loop. And remember that we should always have 10 loops on our hook once we're at the end of the row, or the number of loops that you would have started with in the beginning. Now for the second row of our 2-row repeat, we're going to start by doing a traditional return pass. So we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and we're going to do that until we only have 1 loop remaining on our hook. Now again, the Tunisian cluster stitch is a 2-row repeat, which we start by doing our clusters and then we do a row of simple stitches. So that means that in the next row, we're going to do our row of cluster stitches. So we're going to start by yarning over our hook, inserting it behind the next vertical bar here, pulling up a loop. Then we're going to yarn over our hook, insert it behind that same vertical bar and pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through 4, same as we did in this row, and we're going to continue doing that until we're at the end of the row. And for our last stitch of the row, we yarn over, do our traditional border stitch and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 to start the return pass. So when we do our clusters, we always start the return pass by yarning over and pulling through 2. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 all the way through to the end of the row. And of course we finish up by doing a row of simple stitches next. So in the next stitch, pull up a loop behind the vertical bar. That is a simple stitch. So this is the second row of our 2-row repeat. And it's much easier to do as well. And in the last stitch as well, we just insert it behind the front and back bars. So like this, pull up a loop, then we're going to chain 1, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and we're going to do that all the way through to the end of the row. Now go ahead and continue until you're at your desired length. Now this is how the pattern looks on a larger sample. If you found this tutorial helpful, please go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!